Mark, it's great to have you on.
Thanks for inviting me.
So, Mountain just reported their first ever earnings report as a publicly traded company. Congratulations on that. We're going to dive into it a little bit later on. I want to start first, though, with the kind of big picture view, the macro view, and where we are. Because for decades, brand advertisers were going after TV with big budget ads, and the platform that you have built now is really targeting the small to medium sized businesses, changing that. And specifically, 97% of your customers had never purchased a TV ad before Mountain. So, what was the initial premise, when you looked at the landscape that performance driven TV could be opened up to this entirely new class of advertisers?
Yeah, there were two things we saw. So one is streaming, the advent of streaming made television for the first time truly a digital advertising medium, meaning it was one to one. You can the rather than being the content was broadcast and therefore the ads were broadcast, they were being streamed to a specific household, so then the ads could be specific to the household. So that was kind of the first thing. Then the other thing we saw is we just thought the media business was in relative terms relatively low growth, like kind of growing 1%, 2% a year. And especially for the major players. And we saw that as kind of like an analogy to the U.S. economy. Like in the U.S. economy, most of the new jobs come from small, mid-sized business. So we're like, well, most of the new growth in this industry should also come from small, mid-sized businesses. And then we just set out, if we were creating an advertising platform from scratch for the small, mid-sized business, the SMB market, they what would they want? They wouldn't want an upfront. They wouldn't want, huge fees. They want, and we just kind of built for that market. And then also that market wants data, everything to be data driven and measurable. So that's what we built. That's Mountain Performance TV, and it worked out wonderfully.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate that stat because it's pretty amazing. 97% of your customers had never bought a TV ad before, which is really
Yeah.
another way of saying that you are introducing these businesses to this industry for the very first time. You're their first you're their first host and sort of guide into this world. And specifically from the latest numbers that you've reported, more than 90% of the revenue from Mountain is actually coming from these small to medium sized businesses. So this sweet spot, as you sort of mentioned, is because of streaming. It's because of all these other things. How does that actually stack up to the opportunity that these businesses might have advertising with search or on social, performance wise? What are they getting through Mountain Connected TV ads versus search and social?
Yeah, so the performance, they expect similar results, but now with even more consumers, like on a broader mix, or they expect that consumer is going to see them like on social, like on in TikTok or in Instagram, and then also see them. I like to call it big screen. Yeah, when you're using Instagram or TikTok, it's on like a 6-inch screen approximately, but when you see it on TV, it's on like a 65-inch television set. And the impact of both, I think, is really impactful to the consumer as long as it's really, really targeted. And so they expect to be, it's not like that any of our customers expect one to replace the other. They expect them to complement each other and to have them help them reach even more consumers, and most importantly, have more people engage with their brand. And so that's our goal. And that's always been the case with direct response marketing. In other words, as Meta grew into the size company it is now, it's not like Google got smaller, right? And so, and the same with Amazon, now the same with Mountain. As we grow, we think the opportunity is accelerating. So that's something we're really excited about, because we at first just had to kind of educate people that it was even possible to to get on television, because they always thought, oh, I'm going to have to hire an agency and they're going to want expensive contracts. It's like, no, you just go to mountain.com and just log in. and get started. And now we're moving into an arena where, they're that's just, we don't have to do as much evangelizing. It's more about capturing that demand than it is about generating it, which is what, the first couple of years with performance TV, it was creating the demand and the awareness. So it's, we're really excited about where we are this year and kind of the trajectory that we're on.
I want to get to the mechanics of how the ads are placed and
Yeah.
the big tech competition in a second, but psychologically speaking, for a viewer, when they see an ad on their phone versus a similar one on the bigger screen, I mean, they're both performance ads,
Yeah.
but what happens psychologically in the mind of the viewer when they see it in different sizes?
Yeah, I think I think there's still this like big screen cachet, like being on TV is still a really big deal. I've had numerous customers tell me, just like in their own family, like one guy, he was telling me his son saw his company during an NFL game and was like, wait, your company, for his dad's company, is like advertisers are in the NFL, like in NFL games and stuff like that. Was that so? There's still this like really big impact to doing that. Even have that happen with mountain ads. When we had an ad in the Oscars, and I got a ton of text messages off of that, and hopefully a lot of new customers. So it's a big medium, and I just think that the importance of that, it's kind of like a 1-2 punch, so to say, that you want to hit that consumer in multiple places. And there's a lot of marketing data that proves that out, that if you really, it takes a consumer, if they interacting with your brand cold, like never
Mm-hmm.
heard of you, it takes, kind of numerous interactions. So we consider like Instagram and TikTok and search like complements to what we
Mm-hmm.
do. They not like we're in a zero sum game with them at all. And and I think most of our customers recognize that. So they're like, okay, the solutions together create more value than each of them individually apart from each other.
Totally. And so I guess what I'm also getting at is what do the customers of Mountain ultimately get when they get a performance ad through Mountain versus through search and social, if it is complementary? What are the different conversions that actually happen? Because in some ways, and you mentioned the cachet part, right? That is a moment that's really special that maybe if you were in the Oscars or the NFL, but to the viewer, they don't know the mechanics behind the scenes that this is performance versus brand marketing. They just see it all in the same mix, which is really great because they're not having to pay millions of dollars for a 30-second ad during one of these tent poles. So they're getting that value. But just
Yeah.
talk more about the complement mix. So what do you get when you do what do you get when you pay for a social and search ad? What do you get when you pay for a connected TV ad?
Yeah, well, with search and so with social in particular, the and Meta in particular, they've gotten incredibly good at anticipating what you're going to purchase next. And so, I mean, to the point where people like, I feel like Instagram is listening to my conversations, which is absolutely not happening. Like Instagram, Meta is not wiretapping everyone in America. I'll say that on behalf of Meta. That's just
I'm sure they
literally
thank you for that.
just literally not happening. I was at a conference where I said that. I didn't realize a very senior executive from Meta was in the front row and was literally like clapping and like, yes, we are not wiretapping everyone. So they've gotten really precise, but it's also easy to miss the content while you're swiping through stories and posts and things like that. And so maybe if something caught your eye, it can go in either direction. You never heard of the brand and you hear about it first via Mountain on television, or you did hear about it and you heard about it with Meta. When it then comes to big screen, we're very precisely targeting the ads, so your budget can be constrained to the size, what the goals you're trying to achieve, the revenue goals and visit goals you're trying to achieve. We provide you the creative tools to help you create the ad. We determine what networks it should be on, when, how often, what consumers, all of that. So that's all the audience targeting, and then we provide all of the measurement to measure it. Plus, we integrate into at least 10 different attribution platforms, meaning third-party software solutions to help you understand the interplay between social, search, the performance TV, email, all of the things you're running. So we're providing you all of that, all in a self-serve platform. And then ultimately, third parties like Google Analytics, and other type of tools help you to understand how this is all interplaying together. And the customers in our platform and these other platforms, they're very, very active. They're not like just set a budget and I'll get data a month from now. I mean, most of them, I don't know a single customer we have that's not in the platform at least every week, and most of them every single day. And so they're very, very engaged in terms of measuring things, changing things. Let's try out new creative. Let's try a different audience, and so forth. So all of that is provided in our solution.
And we know that small, medium-sized businesses also feel the growth of Meta's advertising business, and self-serve has been a concept that's been around for a long time. So people are getting more familiar with that anyway. Now you're adding connected TV to the mix. Now, if you look at Amazon with their new media strategy, Prime Video, introducing their ad tier, now being able to trace it back to the products in their Prime accounts and in their customers' Prime accounts, how much of that is maybe a threat to what Mountain is doing? And even now is streaming with YouTube. Netflix has their ad tier. Are you plugged into those platforms, or are they taking away from what you're already doing?
Yeah, we're generally partnered with literally just about every streaming network, every ad-supported streaming network in America. Period. Like all of the networks, plus we have partnerships with Samsung, LG, Vizio, plus Fastner. Wherever there's ad-supported content, we have partnerships. Honestly, with Amazon, they have Prime Video, so you're in this model where you're both teaming up, as well as they, at the moment, are not doing performance marketing on Prime, but they may in the future. We think it's great. It's just going to help bring more awareness in the market. And we think even tighten more our partnerships with every other streaming network. So I'm talking Disney, Warner Brothers, Paramount, Peacock, all of them. So the more marketers, the more performance marketers that realize they can be on TV and do performance marketing, we think we have a great solution for them, and we have it with all the streaming networks, all of the TV manufacturers. It's literally all. So we view Amazon as a complement. I have regular meetings with the executives at Amazon, so like president of advertising at Amazon. So we're definitely, the companies work together, and we're excited about that.
Okay, so just to be super clear, you are able to, for your customers, show their ads through Amazon, Netflix's ad tier, Paramount Plus. Is that accurate?
Yeah, all of it. Netflix hasn't fully launched their tech stack, but and so they will. We have meetings with them at Cannes Lion, which is a big industry trade show, in June, and expect to do so. But as soon as they do that, we expect to, and I think they hopefully expect us to be there. And with like literally, you could just go down the name of every media company in America that has ad support, like true television, ad supported streaming, and we are partnered with them on that inventory. And in fact, remember, we talked earlier, 97% of our customers first time TV advertisers. So that means 97 cents out of every dollar is net new revenue into the TV industry. So we're effectively the growth channel every single day, literally every day. New companies go live on Mountain's platform. That also means new companies go live with Comcast, with Paramount, with Peacock, with all of these companies, and with LG, with Samsung. So we've effectively become a growth channel for the whole industry, and with the bringing small, mid-sized businesses into it at scale. So we have great relationship with all these companies.
So you're really the tide, and you want a big thank you note from each of these guys for bringing all these customers into the mix.
Well, what we really wanted was for them to understand that the why how important performance marketing is, and the team up with us on the right kind of pricing models and things like that, and it happened. And it took a little bit of time to get there, but we've been fully there for a few years now, and that's been amazing. And we meet with the senior executives of all of these media networks. This week alone, I've already had like 3 meetings like that. Just and it's only Wednesday, and I've already had that many conversations.
All right. Well, I like to hear that for you. I want to talk a little bit about AI,
Sure.
only a little bit. This is obviously the topic that everybody has on their mind about how they're going to manage through it. For creatives, it's very nerve wracking. I wonder what you're seeing on the creative marketing, creative advertising side of things, but also the performance side of things and targeting side of things. Just how much of an impact has AI had so far on the creation of new creative materials, but also on how you're actually able to connect audiences with the brands?
Right. So on the creative, it's accelerating very quickly. So I literally, like, February, there was not a single AI generated ad that ran on our platform or been created by us. Now we're at July. As of not even July, as of June, we had over 1,000 AI generated ads that were created with tools we built in partnership with Google and other companies. So that's accelerate, and that's just literally just the train rolling out of station, so to say. I think the interesting part of it is the companies are not like, oh, I don't in this view of, okay, so we're going to get rid of like the professionals who create content. What they want is for them to create it faster and at a lower cost. And so we're actually not seeing. So one advantage Mountain has is we have QuickFrame, which is a network of thousands of independent creators. 64% of our customers use QuickFrame. And so so we have customers that are directly using AI tech, but we also have a lot of customers, at least half, that are like, no, I want to pay someone at QuickFrame, but I want them to create the ad for a tenth of the cost, because
Mm.
because you still want someone who is up on the latest trends, has a sense of aesthetics, good at, if you get an AI generated script for the ad, is going to edit this script, there's still editing involved. There's still, like, maybe they have some video that they post on YouTube that they want to include in the ad, and they want to insert that in with some of the AI generated video. I don't think it's going to play out the way people think, like it's going to replace all these creators. I think what it's actually going to create even more work, but it's definitely going to be at a lower price point because it's AI enabled technology in order to help them do it. And that's what we're seeing play out. And I'm really excited about that because I think it's a more realistic approach than, me, the marketer, going to stay up all night, Tuesday night, trying to create video ads myself, even with AI tech. So,
Yeah.
so it's playing out, I think, actually pretty nicely.
Well, nicely for you because there's more inventory and more. So,
And for the
so
brand,
yes, but I,
because they can try 10 ads rather than one to find the ones that resonate better. And for the creator, because we the of those 1,000 ads, 500, more than 500 of them, a creator was paid to use the AI tech to create them. They didn't lose their job; they actually gained work. So I think it's really interesting.
I hear you. So what I'm really hearing is as the competition grows fiercer, there's going to be more demand for this, and competition begets competition, and then
Yeah,
there's just going to be more work for everybody. Is also what I'm hearing,
yeah,
and burnout is a whole other conversation.
yeah.
So just last question on this particular topic. What types of ads are performing well? Stylistically, you still have the very glossy traditional ads from the biggest, CPG brands in that very landscape kind of format. And then, on my YouTube, I see ads that look like a social ad, or it's, a selfie cam sort of style testimonial. Have you seen data to suggest that one style is outperforming the other, given the way that all content, kind of features are changing, and the creative sort of connection that people have with content?
I do, yes and no. I mean, I honestly, having great product market fit and a simple way to tell your story, it kind of almost doesn't matter what the creative is, as long as the story is easily understood. But you still need to break through, and I actually think there's going to be a convergence of like social media creators and television that you're gonna, and you kind of saw that like at the of all places, the Super Bowl. Like I like to call, there was an ad from Poppy which had a lot of very prominent social media influencers, and I like to refer to that as the ad that not just sold the product, it sold the company. Like they were bought by Pepsi like 60 days later. And so I think the more and more you're going to see television advertising that looks like very in the moment, created like really quickly, and has a bit more of a social media feel to it, and potentially has social media influencers that you're seeing on TikTok and Instagram now on television. I think that's what a lot of brands should be looking at and looking to participate in.
Again, so what I'm hearing is the style is moving more toward being aligned with the social formats
Yeah,
of content creation. Let's talk
absolutely.
about let's talk about your first quarterly report. What is the main takeaway that investors should have from this first report?
Yeah, I think the goal, but well, not the goal, but the what they should be seeing, what they saw is our performance TV business continues to grow, and then also at the same time, we're becoming more profitable. So on adjusted EBITDA basis, we grew. We had did 38 million last year. We've done 24 million the first half of this year, and the second half is always larger. So we're able to kind of maintain the growth rate and become more profitable at the same time. And most key for, I think, investors is to do it consistently. And that's our goal. That's what we intend to achieve. And I think if you look at our results, Q1, Q2, and before, that's what we've been able to do, and we intend to continue to do. And so we're excited about that.
Well, you're on the train now. You can't get off. Sorry, it's got to be every quarter,
Exactly.
whether it's your goal or not. Specifically, just to your point, performance TV revenue grew 35%. Customers grew 85%. The stock, though, having sort of mixed results, after this came out. What do you think the miss is there with what was actually reported and what investors are thinking and expecting?
Well, as of we did earnings as the market closed yesterday, and I think the price was just literally double the IPO price. I think it was almost exactly 100% up. So I've already learned, like, I don't know what any given investor is doing in terms of profit taking. Maybe they need to buy a home tomorrow. I literally have no idea. But as long as we continue to grow, if you look at companies that consistently grow and that especially do it profitably, those tend to be great investments. And I think hopefully people see this as a great investment also, because that's what we've done and that's what we're going to continue to do.
What's your future growth catalyst sort of roadmap look like?
We think there's so much headroom in this market to continue to bring on customers. And you saw that in terms of how our customer growth is 85% year over year as we're bringing in more and more small businesses. And then we, of course, we prolific creators of technology. 40% of the company's headcount is in engineering. That's going to actually probably reach 50% by the end of the year. So we also have more tech, the more performance tech and more product coming. So the combination, I think, is what I spend virtually all of my time on in the company.
And what about in terms of global expansion?
We're in conversations to expand globally. We've had to wait for the streaming networks outside of the US to kind of catch up to the ones inside, or have the ones in the US expand internationally. So I think both of those things are happening, and you'll start to see us talk more about international, probably in 2026.
All right, I know we're far away from this, but 5 years from now, what does Mountain look like? Who are you serving? How does the entire connected TV landscape, how has that changed in 5 years?
Well, I think it's consolidated a bit. I think it's actually where there was a lot of fear in the overall landscape. I think People, a lot of these companies are starting to realize just put out good content. You know, like the show Love Island on Peacock. It was a like great show, had tons of viewership. Just put out great content and people will find it. And they will, you know, and they're willing to pay for it, you know, either in a subscription or via ads. So I think the industry is going to continue, is actually going to grow over time as we finish this full migration to streaming. And then in terms of mountain, I mean, it's really simple. We'll have a lot more companies on our platform as we just continue to invest in the performance tech, and they just keep becoming more and more aware of their ability to do performance advertising. And so, and we're going to continue to invest a lot more AI tech in terms of helping identify their target customer, finding them, you know, putting the right ads in front of them and so forth. And I think that's what we're doing. I think that's a pretty consistent message across all like kind of performance marketing platforms.
All right, one last fun question. You mentioned Love Island. Are you binging that? What are you binging these days?
I definitely watched Love Island. Me and my girlfriend were definitely watching that pretty religiously. So that for sure. And then I'm forgetting the name of the show, but Apple TV Plus has some good shows on it. So I've been watching a few of those also. But I watch every streaming network. I'm one of those people when they say, you know, the average television consumer watches TV 3 hours a day. I'm at least 2 to 3 hours a day. So you know I'm a big television watcher. I love to be told a story. So I love the big screen and watching.
That's very on brand for you and doing your homework as well. Mark, it's always a pleasure to connect with you. Congrats on this first earnings report.
Thank you.
Thanks.